One of my customers got scammed by another contractor, so I tried to help resolve the situation, and this was his response. Okay, so this is kind of a strange video, but I wanted to share the story with you because I don't want anybody else to get into a situation like this without being fully aware of everything involved before you make a decision to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on your home and not get what you were promised. So about 4 months ago, we were doing a job in my neighborhood. Obviously, it was a pressure washing job. We were doing a house wash and a driveway cleaning. I actually made a video about it. It's on the channel because this customer had found us on Google, and we were able to not only cross-sell them on the addition of a driveway cleaning, but after talking with the homeowner for a little bit, I discovered that they also owned a couple commercial properties. So we ended up cleaning both their office building and one of their warehouses. So that's why I made that video. It was at the same time that we had just brought out 𝗤𝘂𝗁𝗤. And so I was showing you guys some of the measuring features, some of the quoting features in the app. And there have been a ton of improvements since then. So if you're interested in looking at that, it's on the Apple and the Google Play Store. There are links below on both of those. Check out the free version. You can send estimates, you can send invoices, and you can collect payments. But anyway, back to the job. So I stopped by to check in on how everything was going and film a little bit of satisfying surface cleaning for you guys. And when I pulled up, I saw Mac was talking to a lady, or as I like to call them, potential customers. So I walked up in the middle of the conversation, and this is a little bit of what happened.
And he actually owns the company, and he lives here in this neighborhood. So.
Hey, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good.
Glad to meet you.
You too. I'm Mike.
I'm Beverly, and I live in the house where the garage is coming out right there. I just need my patio is horrible. It's mildewed so bad.
Okay.
The back porch my daughter did with a little, a little
Right.
whatever.
Right.
And she did a good job, but some of the paint came up. I don't care if the paint comes up.
Gotcha.
I just need it cleaned. Or do y'all do the house too?
We do it all.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I got leaves on the roof that need to come off.
Okay.
Before the.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll stop by there in a second and just put eyes on it and knock on the door.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Let you know.
I'll be right there. I'm
Perfect.
not going anywhere. What a nice day I've had today.
Well, good.
Well, good.
I'm a recent widow, and
Oh,
life is
I'm
not.
sorry.
My husband did everything.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was the handyman, the stay-at-home fix-it guy. Just calm and cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, and he's gone, and I'm a retired nurse. We know how to take care of people,
Right.
not houses.
Well, we will help you. I'll swing by and we'll hook you up. So after I finished up with Mac, I walked down to her house and we did a walk around. And as she had told us, her husband was a handyman, right? And he handled everything around the house. And there were so many things that she needed help with. So I was more than happy to help her with the things that we could actually help her with and also point her in the right direction as far as other reputable contractors that she could give a call. So we got to the back of her house and along the back of the house, there was a bunch of gutters and they appeared to be really full of leaves and pine needles. You could see them on the roof and on the gutters. So I asked her if she wanted me to include that in the quote, and that's when she started to cry. Now, the entire time I was there, she was telling me that she was in the process of cleaning out her garage and her husband's workshop and his office. So she was already a little bit emotional. And she had a box that she had been carrying around with her, and it was a bunch of fishing stuff in there. And she asked me if I fish, and I said I didn't really, but I had mentioned that my son liked to fish. And she pulled this out of the box and asked if, I wanted to give it to him. And I said, of course. And that's when she started to tell me about the gutters. Now, obviously, they were getting up in age, the folks, not the gutters. And while her husband was a handyman, she didn't want him up on ladders. And she had convinced him to get gutter guards installed because they'd gotten something in the mail that said if they got gutter guards, they were never going to have to clean their gutters out again. And she said it was a pretty big investment, but it would be worth it if he wasn't going to be getting up on a roof, on a ladder anymore to clean them out. And that down here, because they did have a bunch of trees, it was a couple times a year that he was having to do that. So they went ahead and they got an estimate. They got everything installed. And about 6 months later, there were leaves, there were pine needles all over the top of their brand new gutter guards. So she called the installer and asked what was going on because they were told they would never have to clean out their gutters again. And she told me, and this is the crazy part, she told me that his response was, "Why are you complaining? I said you're never going to have to clean out your gutters again, and you won't. But you're definitely going to have to clean the gutters off," and that it was in the fine print. He actually said that. So apparently there was some back and forth about the warranty, the terms and conditions that went along with the purchase and the installation. And by all accounts, the gutter guard installer, who I'm assuming is a reseller for a manufacturer, was within their legal rights as far as their claim goes that you would never have to clean out the gutters again. And I've seen a bunch of these commercials on TV. I've seen a bunch of mailers that come through, and it's pretty much the universal claim. They talk about never having to get on a ladder again. They talk about never having to clean out your gutters again. And while they aren't lying about it, you're not going to have to clean out your gutters again, right? I do think that they're probably being a little bit deceptive in their marketing and in the sales pitch. I'd also venture to say that, like my customer, most of their customers are probably a little bit up there in age. They've got a little bit of disposable income, and they don't want to deal with cleaning out gutters. They don't want to deal with ladders. And so they put their faith, their trust, and their money into a product that definitely does not meet their expectations. Now, again, it's all about managing expectations, right? I don't know if these companies are actually doing that. I talk about it all the time on my channel, and I try to be as forthright and upfront as possible. Like, if there's a stain that we can't remove, I'm going to tell our customer about it. If there's a section of a house that we can't reach because we can't get our ladders there in a safe manner, I'm going to tell you about it. I'm not going to try to get one over on anybody. And I kind of feel like that's what some of these gutter guard companies are doing, right? And it's not cool. So back to this specific customer. So they were basically told to pound sand by the installer. The gutter guards were doing what they were supposed to do, is what he said. And there is maintenance involved with the gutter guards, which obviously entails either hiring somebody like us or getting up there to clean the gutters out yourself, or on top of the gutters. So this lady's late husband decided that he was going to get up there and clean them off himself, and he fell. He ended up in the emergency room. Fortunately, he wasn't hurt significantly. He was pretty banged up, but that's still not a good thing. And that was the last time that he ever got out a ladder. They never hired anybody to clean off the gutters. I also noticed that they were beginning to have some wood rot on the fascia boards because of the overflow. Again, one of the things that properly maintained gutters are supposed to prevent. And then gutter guards on top of gutters are also supposed to prevent the overfilling of the gutters, which with debris, so the gutters can do their job, which brings us back to this point where I ask for the gutter installer's phone number. So this could have gone one of two ways. It could go good or it could go bad. And if you guys watch the channel, specifically my shorts, you know that I am not opposed to ruffling some feathers. I'm not opposed to telling folks how I feel. And most importantly, you know I'm going to help this lady out. So I text this guy, I introduce myself, I explain the situation relatively briefly, and I ask about the maintenance of the gutter guards. I was nice, and here's the text. I got no response, but I can see that he did read the text message. So I decided to give him a call and sent directly to voicemail. So I leave the voicemail, basically the exact same thing that I sent in the text message, just asking about what the proper protocol is for the situation and what exactly it is that they promised the customers, because I was curious and I also wanted to know how to properly help the customer. And this was the response that I get back. Okay, so clearly this gentleman's customer service is lacking as much as the performance of the gutter guards that he installed, and we're not going to get anywhere with him. So I did do a little research and I figured out exactly what we needed to do to make this right. And these higher end gutter guards, they have a micro mesh filter that allows water to go through them, but nothing else. So in theory, they're absolutely brilliant, but in the real world, not so much, because unfortunately, mildew and algae are a thing, right? It's a real thing, and they start growing on everything, especially down here in the Southeast, including the fine mesh filter on these gutter guards. And eventually that completely clogs up the mesh, which then prevents water from going in. And I would guess because the algae is kind of nasty and slimy, it probably helps any kind of debris, leaves, pine needles, or whatever stick on the top, right? So they do work until leaves accumulate on top or algae grows on it, which prevents water from entering the gutters, and it just spills over the top and behind the gutters and runs down the house, causing all kinds of potential issues for the homeowner. So then you're going to have to remove anything that's on top of the screens and either soft wash or scrub by hand with some sort of mildewcide like sodium hypochlorite to clear out all of the filters so they can actually function properly. But even if there was no algae present, leaves and debris, pine needles, they're still going to sit up on top of them, and they still need to be removed, right, on a regular basis. Of course, it's not something that these companies promote when they're trying to sell you on the fact that you're never going to have to get on a ladder again, but pretty much every reputable reseller, manufacturer, installer is going to tell you that there is maintenance involved and you will have to clean these things off. They just aren't all reputable because they're trying to get a quick sale. So we ended up cleaning out our gutters, or actually, I guess, her gutter guards. We cleaned her house, we cleaned her driveway. All in, the estimate was for $850, but I never sent her an invoice because this was enough.